Hello and welcome to Snyk Live. I'm your host, Brian Clark. I'm a developer advocate here at Snyk, and we have some fun in store for you today. I hope you're excited, and it is great to be back streaming on the channel. If you used to tune in, or maybe if you used to tune in, strap in because we're going to have more of these live streams picking back up now, like we were in the past. And if you're new here, welcome in. We're happy to have you. We do all kinds of live streams related to developer security, but general development as well. And today is hitting just upon that as in particular. Excuse me. What we have for you in store for today is we're going to be talking about navigating the web, a tale of crafting browser extensions. Now, if that interests you and you want to learn more about this story, be sure to sit tight and tune in for that. If you're watching over on Twitch, be sure to follow the channel so that you don't forget and miss out on future streams. And over on YouTube, like and subscribe so you can see more of this type of content. And you have the reference there. This is all being recorded. It's going to be up on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/sneak, SEC, sneak sec, and you'll be able to see the recording of this, go back to reference it, and all that kind of fun stuff that you might need. But for now, let's jump right into what we're going to be doing today. And to help us learn more about crafting browser extensions and sharing their story, we have Kata, who's a senior software engineer at Snyk, joining us now as our special guest. Let's welcome her on. Hey, how's it going?
Hey, hi. All good, thanks.
We're glad to have you on, and I'm excited to hear more about your story around and your experience around building browser extensions.
Yes, was like a proof of concept, and I learned a lot while doing it. And I think it's interesting to share like real experience.
Yeah, for sure. Before we jump too far into that, though, let's learn a little bit more about you and what you do at Snyk and that type of thing.
Yeah, I've been at Snyk for the past 18 months, I think, and right now I'm in a team that we own the IDs plugins, and the CLI of Snyk. We code in many languages, and it's been fun so far. Before this team, I was working in a growth team where we were building like satellite tools to bring customers at our main page, and that was when I had the opportunity to work for on Advisor. That's the tool that we are going to talk today. And
Nice. No, that's awesome to hear. So the tool and the project that you ended up working on, you mentioned Snyk Advisor, and we know that it's going to be about a browser extension. But how did this come up? Like, how did you get inspired? What was the inspiration behind working on this whole thing, this project?
So, Snyk Advisor is a site where you can type the name of a package, uh, npm package or Go package, and we show the health score of this package, and we give a lot of information about it as well, like if it's the maintenance. The security, how we score this package. So I find it's a very useful and interesting tool. And always when I'm browsing packages like on GitHub or npm, and I always thought it would be cool if we had like a Chrome extension that just like looking at it, I can see the same health score that we get if I go to Advisor. And that was an idea that I always had, and I've been talking about it with a few colleagues. Oh, that would be cool to have. And but yeah, those things that we say one day I'll build it, and yeah.
I've definitely had that experience before, or where you start building something and then you lose track of it and jump into another thing right on top of that, right? But with this one,
Yes.
was that the case? Like, what did you were saying one day, but then finally something came up to where you had the opportunity, you jumped into working on it. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yes. So in our company, we have a time off for us that's called recharge week. And then this at that week, like the whole company was like on holiday, and but I was on call, so I was not really on
Mhm.
holiday. But I needed to be around, but I'm not really doing the normal work. So I said, like, okay, I have time now. I need to be here. I cannot be traveling. So let's do something. And I took advantage of that week, and I decided to relearn how Chrome extensions work. and try to build this extension that I've been kind of dreaming about for a few months. Yes, and just like a proof of concept, just to see if it made sense what I was thinking about.
Nice, yeah, and for folks that maybe, haven't heard of that before, it's one of the perks working at Snyk. So if you're interested in joining the company, check out the job site, but one of the perks that we have is Snyk recharge days, or in this case, it was a week, where the entire company takes time off to recharge and get back their energy. And it's one of those nice things that I've never experienced at a company before, and I was quite surprised, in being part of this to experience that. It's really nice. Do you agree? Although you
Yes.
get being that you were on call, unfortunately, that wasn't the case, but I think in those, certain situations, the company lets you take another set of time off
Oh
in
yeah,
lieu of
yeah, it wasn't a problem.
yeah, nice. Okay, so you were so passionate about this and you're like, "I really wanna try this out." You're on call, but it's not too busy, thankfully, so that was nice, right? That was a nice benefit of that time, and, you took the added time that you had to focus on this browser extension. So let's talk a little bit more about what the extension does, what's its purpose, and tell the audience, what was your mission with that, with building it out, right?
Okay, if I think we can show my browser.
Okay, yeah,
Or yes. So what's the idea? This is just the readme of the project, and the idea is like, let's go first to what's advisor. Advisor is this page, like this is the home page, and as we can see, we have different registries where we can look for a package and get its health score. So what does it mean? For instance, for this package, we show here like a very like a summary saying the score that we give to this package, depending on the security, popularity, maintenance, community, for instance, and some packages that are related to it, and a little bit more information if you want to get more information about it. Like for instance, we show different versions, and if the current version has any vulnerability, you can see it here. So I think it's a nice tool. It's a nice tool that brings you information. Here we can see the readme of the package, and we have some links that takes you to, for instance, to the registry you go, and so on. This is for Go, for instance, but also we can use we can play with npm. I'm gonna use this. And for instance, if you look for a package, wait, sorry, I'm making a mistake. We have here like this list, and then if you are looking for a package, you have many, and you can select one and just check if it's the package that you want to use, and if the maintenance, so on. So what we were saying before was like sometimes when we are browsing, like I am on npm and I'm checking some packages, I was thinking would be cool if we have like a Chrome extension, something that shows here, it shows directly the score of this package. And then that was like what I wanted. And I was thinking maybe I could click on this icon and see the same information that I would get in Advisor. That is
yeah,
the window. And that was my idea. And I wanted to try, I wanted to prove that, I wanted to try if I was able to build it and how.
yeah. Really quick, Kata. The one other thing I would point out with Sneak Advisor, it's at least in my experience. I'm curious in yours. Have you seen a lot of packages that have 100 out of 100 score like that? Because that seems to be a somewhat rare from my experience.
Oh, it happens for the Go packages.
Oh
Like
yeah.
I saw them there. Yes. I'm not gonna enter in the debate of which language is the best.
No, I was not inviting that. I generally avoid those 2 because I think all languages serve their purposes and have advantages and disadvantages, but that's yeah. But it's interesting
Yes.
to see that. I find that, super cool.
100%. Like for instance, if we go to, I don't know, again, like here, and we see a list, those are the npm packages. Oh, we have, maybe because I wrote it, but we have like, I don't know, just is quite good as well. Let's just do it. So yeah, in this case, for instance, we see that maybe this package has a trouble. We have given a 68, and maybe in this case is because community, and then we can check more information about it.
Yeah. I do want to call out, and folks in the community that are familiar with me and have heard me talk about this before, but I'm like a huge fan of Sneak Advisor, and I wish I had known about it like, I don't know, 8, 10 years ago, because a role I was in the past, we were doing a lot of what Sneak Advisor does for you, but manually. And like all those different data points on like how active it is, the maintenance level, how popular it is, the security of it. We're manually checking all these things to figure out what packages we want to kind of like check off as ones that we officially are okay with using for our projects. And this would have saved me a ton of time in my company, a ton of money. and,
True.
so yeah. And I see from the chat, we have some folks in the chat. Good to see you all. Maze over on Twitch, and then on YouTube, Home of Art and Antonio Gomez. Um, Home of Art says that looks very good and promising. So sounds like we're getting another fan of Sneak Advisor just in the moment of the beginning of the stream. Wait until you see more.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was the idea, and so the nice thing is, so Advisor, as we saw, we have support for npm, for Python, for Go, and Docker. But Docker, not really. So I didn't build it for Docker. So here, what I highlighted is like we can have this extension highlighting the score for those registry. And then my dream is this bit, is the bit that if we are navigating in on a package in a Git on GitHub of this package, that the Chrome extension would work here too. As we can see, I have like kind of disabled it, and later I will show how. Because what's my trouble here? My trouble here, how can I identify what can I use from this page to understand that is a that is a dependency that is installable. So that we can talk more about that later. But yeah, I wasn't able, like as I said before, I used 1 week to like work on it very hard, and then later I was just adjusting things here and there. But the time that I had, I couldn't really figure out how to say that this is a, for instance, this is a dependency, and another thing is just a normal package that's not is not gonna show in Advisor.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's, I mean, I don't know what indicators or signals are might be available within the repo potentially to to show that it's a package, because it could be just, you know, like any other, somebody might have just wrote a bunch of scripts or something, right? Or maybe it's their API server source code. It's kind of
Yeah.
hard to tell just looking at it, especially from a programmatic perspective of knowing whether it's a package or not. Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, 100%. For instance, I thought about, okay, let's focus on the releases, because if you have releases, mean that you are publishing it to npm. For instance, if we are talking about npm packages, or let's focus, or if it's an npm package, maybe I could read the package JSON and find out something, but it was not consistent. Like I couldn't say that was, so that became a little bit more tricky. But I do believe that I could have done something here.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. So what's next then? So you had the inspiration behind building the project. You described what the objective is. Where do you want to go from here? What was the next part of your journey? The next step in your journey from this point during that quick week that you had off?
To be honest, like this was like the second phase, like the second approach. My very first approach, my very proof of concept approach was way simpler. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm alone at the office. And what was it? Was that, you know, like my first idea was like, what can I do that is very simple, but I do get this information that I'm looking for. So I said, oh, I know that if I want to share this package in a social something like, for instance, Slack. You know, when we share a link of, so if your page is following like the Open Graph protocol, for instance.
Oh yeah,
and you have added the proper tags, when you share a link of your page, we know that it renders this little image, the image that you have decided to put there. To be able to have this enhanced, nice view when you're sharing a link, as we commented, we need to follow those things, right? We need to follow those tags. So I know that Advisor has it, as we can see it. I know that it has this nice image, and I like this image. I think it's quite cute. So my very first approach was like, what if I clicked on the Chrome extension and I just pop up the same image? Like, so I don't need to do any job, like just fetch it.
Yeah.
And why I thought about fetching it, because I know that if we inspect elements, I know that this open graph is written somewhere, OG image, I think, image. Yes, it's somewhere here. Then let's see if I can find the URL. Okay, it's here. So I was thinking, my very first approach was like, what if I get this URL that, let's double check that is what I think. It's the image, and I can see that the URL is saying that it's just the name of the, so you have the package, is an npm package, and you have the name of the package. So I was thinking, okay, if I can replace this one with React, for instance, maybe I get the proper image for React,
Hmm.
or I can get, I don't know, Jest. So I get the proper image. So I thought, okay, so I'm just gonna do that. I'm gonna replace the name of the package when I'm browsing npm, and I'll do it. I'll show it in the pop-up. And I tried it, but I end up with a lot of trouble fetching a URL. Like, this all comes from like security in the manifest file and what you can allow or not to fetch. So I wasn't able to fetch this from a extension. You need to allow it, and I couldn't make it work. So I
Really,
said, okay,
really quick on that. So when you from your browser extension are trying to make the request for that image, the server that's hosting it is what you're saying has like security headers, I imagine, like content security policy or something like that that says don't allow this to be loaded from anywhere else other than what's specified, with other domains or hosts that are specified. Is that what was happening or
no,
something?
I think it's more about the Chrome extension security that doesn't allow me fetching a domain that is not in the page where where the extension is being
Oh,
loaded.
okay. That's good to know. Yeah, okay. I got you.
So there are workarounds, but I couldn't figure out, and I didn't want to spend more time here. I said, "Oh, leave it. Maybe it's
Mhm.
not a good idea, and I need way more like investigation and knowledge to make it work." So let's see what else I can do. So I forgot about this idea. I said, "Oh, leave it." And then I said, okay, so I wanted, so since I had just 1 week, I wanted to do the simplest thing ever. Like, I didn't go too crazy. I didn't want to go too crazy. I just wanted to see if it was doable. So I know that to be able to make a Chrome extension, let's see if I have it here. Like, the basic thing that you need, surely I'm missing something, but you need something. You need the manifest JSON, manifest file. And then you need like, if you want to have a Chrome extension that shows something, so you need a pop-up HTML. So you have and then you need its JS. Well, in this case, I wrote it in TypeScript. And you need a way to communicate different things. Like, usually you have the content TS or JS, and then background JS, the scripts. And how they communicate to each other is something that took me also a long time to like finally make them work, because I was reading like the official documentation and looking at many YouTube videos, and everything was fine, but I struggled to send the information from one to the other and
Mhm.
understanding which one gets loaded first. Okay, so okay, I'll go back to
Question for
the
you, Kata.
hmm?
Um, the if we could just really quick for folks that are new and learning. So how would you describe the difference between the content TS file, the background TS file, and like a pop-up TS file? Like what are their purposes when it comes to the extension itself when somebody's interacting with the extension or just running it?
Okay, so let's see if I know how to explain it. I'm gonna try to do it like this. So the pop-up JS or TS is, well, let's start with the HTML. This is just like this is the UI that we see when we click on the extension. Like if we are here and we click, and you click here, This is the pop-up HTML. To be able to interact with its elements, imagine that I want to use, I want to get an element, a document, get document select something or whatever. If I want to interact with it, well, and to separate some concerns, you can write like in a different file the JavaScript that interacts with the pop-up HTML. You could have written everything in one go, but in this way you have the functions like separated from the HTML. Okay. Yeah. And then this is a normal HTML, like, you know, when we create a basic hello world and at the end we call the JS. This is the same thing, the same little thing. So if, I can even show, if we go live in this HTML here with my IDE, let's see if it works. As we can see, like I'm rendering the HTML, and I can interact with the elements because I'm calling the pop-up JS, for instance. This is like the normal HTML. Then okay. So, but how do I, and okay, and in my pop-up, I can also make requests. I can do normal things. But what we want to do is like interact from, like, what I want to know being an extension is, how do I know that I am in an allowed page, like in a page that I said, okay, I want my extension to work for npm.js, but I don't want my extension to work if I am in this page or in even advisor. It gets like blurry. So this information is kept in the manifest JSON that is here, that we can talk about it later, but things that I can allow. So being able to communicate the fact that I am in this tab, in this browser, and pass this information to the pop-up, I need to the interaction between the content.js, that is the very first script that gets called when I open the browser, and then talk to the background.js to be able to do some interaction as well, like, because we can attach some listeners, we can send message to the pop-up. So it's a way of communicating. Is the messaging, how is it called? Is the messaging between the scripts that you need to have.
Yeah. So it's even more like you were talking about before with the pop-up. You have some separation of concerns between the visuals and then the code that supports the visuals. But then for things that you want to run on the content page of the website that your manifest permits, in this case npm.js, if there's JavaScript you need to run there, you put that into, and correct me if I'm wrong, the content.js or TS in this case. And then if you need to run background processes or any type of calculations or logic, then you could use the background one. And all those have mechanisms based on that diagram you're showing us to communicate and share data between them if you needed to, right?
Yes, you explain
Okay.
it way better now. Yes.
No, I'm taking what you said to me, and I like to do that, like, restate it essentially, just using my own words to make sure that I'm understanding, and learning it, you know what I mean? So, that's all I was doing. I was taking what you were giving me and spitting it
No,
back out.
100%. I wanted to explain it better, but yeah, I got a little bit lost. But yes, it's what you said, and it's quite tricky, all this communication. At least it was for me, but I think I got around. Yeah.
Okay. So where did you go from here then?
Okay, so I think just to help me to to tell the story, like how I started to build it, maybe I can show how Snyk. How can I show this? If I go from here. So I think we could look at the history of the commits. So I can tell a story. So, well, the initial setup is like, you know, a project. I wrote it in TypeScript, and we know that we need like a lot of things to be able to make it work. Like in this case, I tried everything that I tried to add was like the minimal thing, just to make it compile, just to make it work. And later on, I'll be fixing it or adding more stuff. So then, as we can see, the next thing I said, okay, I know what I want to do, and I want to add the pop-up layout scaffolding. So what was my idea here? That is also, I think, is interesting to know. So how am I writing this HTML? So okay, this is something that I decided to do. It was kind of scrape.
Really quick, could you zoom in just a little bit when you're showing
Oh
that?
yes, sorry, that was here.
Yep.
So this is just like a normal HTML that we have. Is the pop-up that we saw that I have written. This is just the beginning, it's not the final version. It was the very first, like the addition, the very first file.
Gotcha. Yep.
And this HTML, like I don't know how to combine two colors. I'm not a very good designer. So I said, okay, how can I speed up this process? I'm just gonna walk and I switch on the light. 1 second.
Okay. Yeah. Sure. While Kata's doing that, I think this is a great example of when you have an idea of just getting something, starting simple, starting small, and getting things working so that you can learn, right, and start at that first stage, and then you can build upon that, iterate on it. I mean, I do that with projects even to this day, where I don't have everything written perfectly. My code isn't perfect right from the start. Like as I iterate on that, I start identifying and seeing, "Oh, yeah, I should have wrote that this way," right? Or, "I should have done this," or you learn more things that you can then apply to the project. And I'm so glad you're sharing this story of, like, the history of or the whole journey you went through from start to finish, because I think that's to me, I might be biased and I don't wanna generalize for everybody, but I think that's a great way to grow and learn as a developer. Um, Although there's some people it works differently for them. So, take it with a grain of salt, so to speak. Yeah. All right, keep going. And the lights are on. Nice.
No, no, 100% what you said. As you can see, my very first approach was like everything was hard coded, like 87, like this number is hard coded here. But what you said, I just wanted to have something that I could look at it and see, okay, is what I need. Like, can I render this when I click on a button? That was my idea. This
Yeah.
is why this commit just has like the minimal HTML, minimal CSS, and the font that I can, yeah. So, and again, from where did I get this design? Like, I kind of scrape advisor because I don't know. I don't know. It will take me forever to build the same table, and it's already here. So I said, okay, someone very smart did it before me, and let's see how they did it. So what I did was, okay, let me copy the whole HTML here that we can say edit that HTML. Maybe I copy everything, I put it in my IDE, and then I started to understand the HTML and delete things that I didn't need.
Mm,
Of course, was a lot of manual process, like it was a lot, but also it was faster than me doing it by from scratch.
right.
So yeah, so this is how I ended up with no with this scaffolding that I call it scaffolding.
Mm,
And also like I just had the minimum. I didn't have tests
mhm.
yet. I had the minimum things. Okay.
Wait, you added tests later on then?
Yes.
Wow. Well, I good for you. I wish I was better like that.
But I added to the functions that I thought were more critical than others, like the ones that because testing, like, okay, it's another debate.
Yeah.
Uh, but I didn't want to go blind. I didn't want to go like I'll show later where I added a test because I needed to, since I'm supporting different registries. How can I iterate over the URLs and be sure that is what I want? So if I wrote a set of unit tests that I say, okay, if it's npm, this is the behavior. If it's Docker, this is the behavior. If I write those unit tests and I can create like maybe a parameterized test, I'm like stressing a lot of cases in one go. So tests, like, yeah, of course they are very important.
Yes. I see in the chat, really quick, Home of Art was saying, "Yes, very good advice indeed. Sometimes they get stuck even before they start because they wanna be perfect from the start, but, they learned that it's better to start than having the perfect plan in place right away right off the bat." So
100%. And also gives you motivation, I think, because when you see it little by little that the things are getting like somewhere, so okay, let's do a little bit more, a little bit more. And if you try to go perfect and you end up in like, I don't know, lost, and say,
mhm.
tomorrow, and maybe tomorrow never comes again.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, from here, what happened later? The scaffolding initial manifest configuration. Okay, this is the important one as well. So I was able to pop up, like, as we saw in my ID, I can just spin up a server and see the HTML there. But then now I need to do the important things, like to create a pop-up. So is the most important file, well, it's like the manifest JSON. And this, I needed to Google it and read it again and again to see how do I write it, what the minimal things that it needs. And with just that, it works. You can load it. So let me just show how do you load. I know we are going to go back to this with more information, but I want to show how we load the extension when you are developing it.
Mm.
So what you do, if you're still developing it, you need to load, unpack it, and then select the. So we know that I have written the project in TypeScript, but at the end, what I need is the JavaScript, the final, the JS to be loaded. So I can show later how my Webpack, I used the Webpack. I could have used another tool, but I used the tools that I had more knowledge, more experience with, so I could go faster. So I'm bundling them to a dist, and what is the dist that I'm loading to the extension. So I said select, and it goes here. I don't know what's this, what I have done. I'm gonna clear and load. So the advisor extension is here. You have details. So anyway, so when you change to the page that you said that is allowed, for instance, passport, then the extension shows up here. That's,
Nice.
I
Okay.
just wanted to show that.
Yeah. One question for you there. In order to get the cape, because I think by default the capabilities to load an unpacked extension is not available. There's a
Oh,
certain something that you need to enable, right, in order to be able to load unpacked extensions.
I do think so. You need, yes, you need to go to the developer
There.
mode somewhere. You go to Chrome extension, and then you need to do this switch, and then you see the buttons. You're right.
Okay. And I imagine most, because I know this is very geared towards Chrome, right? Or so any Chromium-based browsers, but I imagine there's probably something similar for other browsers that aren't Chromium-based, like Edge or whatnot, that have some similar features or capability of loading unpacked extensions, right? To test it out.
100%. And is shame on me because the browser that I use is Firefox, actually, and I should have written it like for both. And I know that is a very small change that I need to do somewhere, but I didn't have time. Like, and I don't. Yes, I went to the. Okay, I know because I have built a Chrome extension before, like many years ago. So I said, oh, let's try that, and then I'll iterate and I'll make it for other browsers.
Yeah.
But I didn't
We
have
could we
time.
could have a future stream on that.
Yeah, yes.
Supporting
Yeah.
more browsers, you know?
Let's do it all together. Pair
Yeah.
programming.
Okay,
So
cool. So that's loading it.
yes, and then what happened? Yeah, so we loaded it, and I needed to add the icons. Okay, the icons, they are just shown here when we saw in the browser. If you add the correct sizes, so you must add the correct sizes, and then write them down in the icons part, and then you have them loaded as an icon, but also here, and also if you go to details is here, and if you publish your extension to the market, also you have your icon there. So the icon is very important. If not, show something random. Then yeah, and then like Webpack stuff. So this configuration that I can show like the final version later because I needed to modify some things. As we said before, to be able to load the extension is not just the JS. Like Webpack, what we are doing, like we are converting the TypeScript to the JS, bundling them. No, sorry, we are bundling we're Webpack is helping me to create the build folder, right? But I needed to move some files there too. Like for instance, all the icons, the images, and also the manifest JSON. Those files needs to be in the dist. So I was taking advantage of this copy Webpack plugin to be able to move those files.
Nice. Okay.
This is like the little by little. How can I do that? And
Right. Right.
then the next thing was like health score when service work is in it. Okay, this was about okay. So I went a little bit. So as I said before, I was kind of scraping advisor. And while I was building this Chrome extension, I was learning also other APIs that I didn't know about. But to this point, I tried like how can I retrieve this information, because in my head I wanted to retrieve this number, and where this number was inside of this div, inside of this span here. And I said okay, so I tried with here in the console, I tried to like get that element, right? I was like document dot query selector, and trying very hard like to give the proper path to be able to do to grab this element, because I was thinking if I'm able to do it here, somehow I'm gonna be able to grab it in the code.
Yep.
But but I couldn't make it work. So what I decided to do
Well, yeah, there's not
was
really a great like ID or some type of thing that's unique to that to like key off of, right? Those other attributes on the HTML elements they seem like randomly generated attributes, data attributes, right?
yes. So of course I cannot rely on those IDs, or no ID for ID, yes, but if on those data numbers I cannot. So I needed to find a way to get all the way to this element, but avoiding relying on what is not under my control. And again, like I knew from the beginning that this way of building anything that you are scraping something is kind of very not how to say, not solid, because tomorrow advisor decides to put this number below, and all my idea goes like, yeah, I need to. This is what happens when you scrape something. And I just wanted to say that scraping something, like as far as I know, is kind of in the limbo of being legal, or no, I don't know. I know that it's not something that maybe we are not allowed to do it, but this was a proof of concept, and yeah, I don't know. I wanted to get this number. And again, so what I saw was, okay, I tried very hard to fetch it here, but then I wasn't capable. So I said, okay, what if I view the source page? No, not this one. The source inspect view select. Where is it? The source page. Well, the one that we see. I don't know why I don't see it.
Yeah. Maybe just inspect. Oh, view selection source. There you go.
Well, the one that we see the whole thing. And
Right.
I found a way. So I was thinking maybe I know that's crazy, but I wanted to make it work. So I said, okay, maybe I can write a regex, and I can give somehow like a tree or a pattern, that knowing that I have two numbers slash something, I could gather this number.
Okay. Yeah.
And okay, and all those things I'm saying, but I'm jumping back and forth. It's like, why am I scraping anything and gathering this data? Because when my idea was like, when I click on the pop-up, I'm gonna fetch the data, like I'm gonna call somewhere. And I read Snyk, we do have like some public APIs and so on, but the structure of the data was not exactly what I needed, because I wanted to have the security, popularity. I wanted to copy the exactly thing. So the easiest way for me was like, let's just copy what we have in advisor.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
When you bringing up regular expressions, by the way, makes me think I'm gonna mess it up. But have you seen that coding meme where it's like you have one problem and you attempt to solve it with a regular expression? Now you have two problems.
Yes.
Is that how you
Uh,
felt in this situation too?
Of course, like regex are very difficult, and I go to regex one-on-one, and I tried many things, and I try over and over again, and when I finally think that I have it, oh no, I didn't think about this case, and it's a nightmare. Yes. Yeah, I know that is not, and also I know that it's not very performant, I think. So again, this is not like a production thingy. It was like I want to play with it and I want to make it work.
Yeah, and you're learning while you're doing it.
Yes, yes, yes. So yeah, so and then what we said, it was like, okay, so I fetched the whole page. Okay, I'm crazy, but I was given the whole page, and I was trying to match and find what I needed, right, the numbers and so on. And this is what I kept doing, and I was iterating, and I think making it better. Yeah. And random have attribute spinner, the spinner when that's okay. What about the spinner? So as I said before, I'm not a great designer. I don't know much about CSS. I find that like amazing the things that you can do. Like people create games with just CSS. It's like that's amazing.
That's wild.
But I'm not capable to like. And I have a friend. She runs like a nice workshop, like CSS for backenders. I went to her workshop. I tried really hard, but I still up for me.
There's a lot of us like that are developers. I feel like it's like 50-50. There's like half that are like can do a little bit with that and are pretty good, and then the other half are like we try and it just doesn't stick.
No, it's an amazing job. Like the things that people do, it's crazy. So it's a lot. I don't know. I find it amazing, but yeah, I'm not capable. So to be honest, to build this, every time that I need a spinner, I go to Google, I find the one, and I try really hard to make it work.
Yeah.
So I think the spinner works now. Maybe. Oh, this is already loaded, but yeah, the spinner is there. And what else I want to say? And yeah. And about the tests, what tests I added. So okay, so what's the deal? Like, how can I fetch? So I know that my source of information is advisor, right? And for npm packages, the structure of the URL is npm-package. But if we go to another one, let me go from here. Yes, this one is gonna be, it's different. It's like it's Golang, and then I need to know that GitHub, AWS, blah blah. So I needed to understand and support different types of URLs from the place where I was. So again, if I am in Go and I am here, how can I go back to advisor? What can I get from here that I can build this URL later on? So this is why I needed to write a test. So I gather all the information, several examples. Then later I saw the same pattern. I deleted them, but I was doing like a kind of TDD way. Like I was like, okay, let's make one pass. Let's make another one pass. Let's iterate over it. And I had many cases. And once I got to the pattern, I just let the minimum one. And also because unit tests are like, I think that they are documentation for developers. So you can any colleague can come here and understand if it's written like, what is this thing doing? I hope so. I write it in a way that, okay, so this is saying transform this function that is doing like, if it's npm.com npmjs.com transform to advisor URL. So I'm passing npm.js, but what I want back is an advisor URL. So this is how I can fetch the information from advisor later on.
Very cool. Yeah, that's a great example of a use case for test-driven development to really guide you and help make sure you're covering all the bases that you need to cover. I like that.
Yeah. Of course, if I would have being working with someone like in pairing, people would have, because now today I've been like reading my code again, so oh, this could have been written better, oh here's a mistake. So yeah, working with someone is always helpful.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. But I definitely feel that too. Anytime I go back to another project, especially if it's been a long period of time that I've not worked on that project or looked at it, I feel like lost a lot of times, and then I also feel like, what was I thinking when I did this part, or why would I do that? So
Yes, and
it's part of being a developer.
100%. And but it's cool also when we see that, oh, this can be written better, so it means that we learned and we improved and we have more knowledge, so
Yeah.
that's great.
So how did you end up?
And
What is the logic for transforming the advisor URL? Do you just key off of the domain?
ah okay, so yeah, everything that is my idea. So what I've done, so to some to advisor URL, what am I doing here? Okay, so what I'm returning in the end is the advisor URL, that is that, and I'm appending, I needed to find the advisor registry, the way that we call the registry, because we saw that for npm is package something, package in advisor, npm package, right? So I needed to
Right.
make those transformations. Again, if tomorrow we decide to change this, oh, the whole station breaks. But
Yeah.
okay, it's a problem for
Hopefully they don't
tomorrow.
change
So I needed to retrieve the advisor registry and the package name. So how do we do this? How I decided to do this? I wrote this as an example. So what I'm getting as a registry package URL is like the npm way.
it.
And what I'm doing here, I'm trying to retrieve the host name and the path name. Okay, that's going to be this bit. And then what I'm trying to understand is like, is advisor npm or Python or Golang or Docker? If so, my package name is going to be this way or this other way.
Mm.
Again, a lot of regex and stuff. Yeah, that could have been better, but it's what I wrote. And the way that I'm doing this map is like this. So I'm saying, okay, advisor has this shape, but npm like has this shape, like, so then I'm doing the transformation like that.
Yeah. No, very clever. I like that.
Yeah, and then we return it, and people are using it, like from, for instance, popup.js, retrieve the advisor registry package name, and can update the pop-up with all this information that it is okay. And this is like, okay, this is like a lot, another maybe crazy thing. So let's remember, like as I said before, like the pop-up TS, like this is the UI, right? The UI our pop-up. So I'm capable to, from the pop-up TS, the script, I'm capable to query selector elements of the page. So how I decided to populate, so I have the raw HTML that we saw before with no data. I think we saw it here when it was all empty somewhere. We saw it empty. And then how do I populate this data that I fetched from advisor? I'm going like, okay, select attributes, the one of my HTML that I created, this one, this little bit, and I'm just setting the data to the every element of the HTML. So it's not pretty, but yeah, this is how I did it.
No, that makes a lot of sense, and I don't know that I would think of another, as a fellow developer, I feel like I would take a very similar approach, if not the same approach that you did in that regard. So I feel like you're being hard on yourself, like, oh, when's the last? Is this like the first time in a while you've come back to the project, and that's why you're like looking at this and you're like, ah, and
Yeah,
it's giving
kind
you that
of.
feeling?
Yes, because I had a massive problem communicating the background JS with pop-up JS, and I can show you now. And today, with another mindset, with like, I said, oh, this is how I could have solved it. And I started to code it today, but I said, oh, let it go. Today is not the day because I'm gonna be showing this later. So
Yeah, yeah. Well, I guess that goes to show for folks that are, maybe more junior developers, and or they're getting started into development, one of the things that you'll learn through experience that Kata is sharing with us here too is when you take time away, stepping away, maybe not as long, but when you take time away, if you're getting stuck on something or whatever it may be, just taking a break, like a walk for 10 minutes or so, or whatever it may be. Maybe it takes a whole day. You gotta sleep on it. You come back and your brain is, like, reset or something. I don't even know how to describe it, but it's, like, refreshing. It gets this new perspective, and things are able to just, like, click, right? Have you that's kinda what you're saying here? And that's what you've
Yes.
experienced?
Yeah, 100%. And even more when we talk to others and they tell you something that's like, oh, I didn't think about that. And then you come back and say, oh, that works. That makes more sense.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. So yeah. So, but no, this is awesome. This is super helpful and interesting and intriguing to see the whole flow and the process that you've gone through. I think there's been a lot of takeaways for folks to that are watching now or maybe watching the recording. They'll get out of this already. But what else? What was there more that you wanted to cover and go through? So we've talked about what inspired you, how you got started, what gave you the idea, you jumped into it, and how you've iterated on it to get the you just started off from scratch, like, let's just get, like, a basic thing working with all these different elements that make up the components of a browser extension, get it running, see it, like, have something tangible, and then you started tying into the things that you wanted to do, which was using Snyk Advisor, handling the different ecosystems that Snyk Advisor supports based on the URLs, and then how did things go from here? What was the next part of that journey?
So this was like little by little I was trying to also to understand what do I do? How can I disable the icon if I am in a page that the icon doesn't work? Because
Mm,
the icon should work in just like for npm. Well, it's not perfect because I have a problem of communication that I'm gonna tell you now, but yeah, should be working here if I refresh. But if I am in advisor or any other page, should be like disabled somehow. And I Google it over like many times, and I didn't find a way to say. I think like it must be like a disable, but I couldn't find a way to say to the icon to be disabled. So I
mm.
did a trick, and the trick that my trick was I'm gonna create the same icons but in gray, and I'm gonna
Okay.
set those those icons to like disable mode when I need it. So yeah, it's like okay, it's like a hack over a hack. Where do I have
I like
assets?
that though. That's cool.
So I have the same icons, like with the color and the gray one.
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
And how I do that? So I said, okay. So when I'm in a page that shouldn't be, that's a page not supported, I call it like that. Is valid URL for path. I think I call it like this. So if it's not valid, I set the budget, set icon budget to empty, and I use the gray one.
Okay. Very
I know that.
clever.
Yeah, that one was for the icon. This is why I can use the 16.
Yeah. So does that actually, make it so that you can't click the icon, or that you found that there's no
Ah,
at least obvious way to prevent it from being clicked on, or
yeah.
is that
So I
fine?
couldn't do that too because I was thinking like I have other extensions that they do work when they are disabled, and I was like, how do they do that? How do they do that? And I wasn't like this one, the view one.
Yeah.
So view is gray, but if you can still touch it, and I could inspect it and see what's going on. So what I concluded was, and what I was reading was like, you cannot really disable the icon. You need to make it do something else. So in my case, what I did was I'm gonna kind of show not found page,
Nice. Okay. Mhm.
not found. Yeah. So I'm gonna show this thingy. And I said, okay, that was another journey to say, how can I render? How can I? Because again, as we saw, I wanted to write the simplest thing, just plain HTML, plain CSS, plain everything, no frameworks or libraries,
Mhm.
because I didn't have another. Yeah, it was 1 week.
Mhm.
So I said, how can I replace what is written there or call another page? I didn't know. So what I decided to do is replace the whole content of the pop-up, the first pop-up, the good one. And
Yeah.
how I do that, our pop-up TS, when something goes wrong, like I will have the spinner, blah blah, and if something goes wrong, where is it? Uh, Open right, not found here.
Mm.
So the thing is, I do, okay, it's not a valid URL as we saw. I am somewhere else, so I'm gonna fetch the not found content. That this is the a simplest HTML that I have written here. And in this one, I decided to put all together, like the CSS and the little HTML, all in this page. And what I'm gonna do, like that was my approach, that was my hack. I'm gonna load this page in my whole canvas, like of the pop-up HTML.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. There you go.
And then when I did that, I learned that there is this API, DOM parser, that I think is the one that I needed instead of doing all the crazy regex that I did at the beginning of the project.
Yeah, I don't
I
think I knew about Dom Parser before today too.
I even wrote it in a comment, like for me later on, to say, I think I should have used that.
Little note to self there.
Yeah, it's like, maybe this has a potential here. So
Excellent.
what I do is like, okay, and then I learned, like this one I don't know much, but I learned that I can call this API, the HTML, and that I fetch, and I just like, boom, replace everything. So
Yeah.
I get rid of the normal HTML, and I'm just replacing with the not found.
Awesome. Super clever. Now I didn't know that about like I've experienced that with other extensions as well, and I didn't know how they accomplished that. So that's cool. That's kind of you would think though there would be some type of API available from the browser to say, hey, disable this. But maybe that's different. I'm sorry, I'm just kind of like thinking out loud. So stream of
Yeah,
consciousness here. But maybe they don't provide that because if I'm recalling correctly, and you keep me correct me here, the browser itself usually has like that separate, like where in the view where you are loading an unpacked extension, that's where you would go in and you would actually disable or enable, right? So that might create confusion if like the user is enabling or disabling
ah,
versus the creators, the authors behind the extension, how they would go about that. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Um, I wonder if that's might be why they don't provide an API like that, and you have to go about it this way, like other extensions have.
Yeah,
You know?
that sounds yeah, interesting. Or maybe again, I just didn't find it. But yeah, but yeah, it sounds yeah, that could be that. I'm just
Gotcha.
gonna
Okay.
move again. One second. One second.
Sure. Yeah. Just wave the arms.
Sorry about this.
It's okay. It's fine. It's funny actually. It's good humor throughout the stream.
Yeah, so that was to show the not found thingy, and then the I think the thing that frustrated me the most was the communication between the scripts, that I couldn't understand how to make them work. Like why I cannot, where was it? So like, because what's the trouble here? When you first open the browser, like the content.js gets triggered. So let's see what I have in my content.js. That's a little bit of information that is just I'm just saying, if it's valid URL path, I'm gonna send a message, update the budget score, right? Because we are not clicking on the pop-up yet. So the pop-up is sleeping, it's not rendered, doesn't exist.
Mm,
I'm gonna send the URL, so the background JS will do its job. And if it's not a valid URL, it's gonna be gray, as we saw, because I'm gonna send another message from the content JS. And the content JS doesn't get triggered again, as far as I understand. Okay, and then who gets triggered is the background JS. And the background JS, as we saw, I can call it with the send message, and it does a job.
gotcha. Yeah.
So in this background script, I'm making a request to advisor somewhere fetch here. I'm making this request. So by this point, I have the whole data. And I tried many times over and over again. Okay, if I have the data here, how on earth I send it to pop-up.js? And I tried, and I couldn't make it work. Like I couldn't understand. And today, I found a way. But I tried so many times. So I just want to bring this up because what I did, how I overcame that, like my other hack was, okay, it's ugly, I hate it, but I'm gonna make another request. It's silly because at this point I have everything, but I couldn't make it work. So when the pop up, so when we are here and we go to a new page here, the background JS did its job and fetch the data. So when I'm gonna click now, this data I should be I was thinking there is a way that to pass this data to the pop-up, and I couldn't. So what I did in the end was the pop-up, I'm making a request. So the pop-up JS also fetches. That's not a great thingy, but it's what I did somewhere. Fetch package. And then again, I do the parse thingy and blah, 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 and then I populate the pop-up. And I hated it a lot because like I'm making 2 requests.
Yeah.
But it's here. Okay, and what did I learn today? And I tried and it works, but my code wasn't great, so I let it go. I just learned today, so I need to validate if it's okay, that I can create a global variable here in the in background JS TS script. So when I fetch everything, I store in this global variable all the data that I want, whatever I want, and then I create a function that's gonna be listening. It's gonna be waiting. I'm gonna add an event listener from the pop-up JS. That when it comes, I'm gonna send it back this data. So that sounds
Okay.
very easy. So in
Yeah.
the pop-up JS, I just need to say not this query, the other one that is a send message, saying send message get package data, and it's gonna arrive to the background, and background will send back, and then I'll have, so I can stop doing the fetch. This one. I did it before, but the code ended up very ugly. So I can, and so I have just one fetch. I just, and then I save one request. So yeah, this is what I learned.
Nice. No, that's cool. We're having a question from Twitch from Tintin1992. They're asking about any resource links that you have, and I imagine as we're getting towards the end of the stream anyway, if you have, just to make note right now, not necessarily answered just yet, but if we have resources or links or areas that you went to learn more about this stuff that through your experience, let's be sure to drop. I'll get those and I can drop them into the description and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'll try together, but I did see some YouTube tutorials, like, because sometimes you are just stuck at the beginning or with just a little thing, and you watch something that saves you this little thing, but then you need another 5 videos to do the other 5 things. So
Right.
yeah, I read a lot of information, of course the official blogs, but yeah, I'm very thankful that all the folks there, that they create content to help us in our end.
For sure, for sure. All right. Was there some other things that you wanted to share with folks in terms of like what you learned through this, or
Yeah, I want to share something, like the drama part of this thing was like, so I created this
drama?
extension. The drama, I call it a drama,
Uh-oh.
because I was so like excited with my extension. Like I was sharing with another colleague, he was giving me ideas, blah blah, and I wanted what I wanted to do is to share it with the DevRel team. That I built this extension, because in my head I thought that would be cool for you guys. That's when you share when you share your screen, that maybe it gets seen here.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know if it was useful at all, like the Chrome extension. I didn't know, like maybe it's a silly thing. That was so I spent that week building it, and then I created the README. What did I write? Yes. So, sorry. So then I created the README. I recorded a video explaining how it works, and I shared it with the DevRel team, and they said, "Oh, Kata, this is great, but we already have one." I said, "Why didn't? How on earth I didn't know about that?" What? I was so excited. Like, no. And I said, "Oh, it's fine. I learned something. It doesn't matter." So
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Also,
So
yeah, tell me.
no, I was gonna say that like while that can in the moment, right, feel disappointing for folks when you have like you get behind this idea, you've put time into it, and you have certain expectations or thoughts of like how that might go, and then they don't go the way that you expected, or there's something else that you learn that you're like that kind of throws things for a loop like that. And I'm glad to see though that your attitude is like, hey, it was still a great experience. You learned something, and I don't think it's like you know, um, a waste of time for just that, for one, but two, like some of the features that you have in it are not in the other extension. Like showing the score in there, like that's not in the
Ah.
other extension that Snyk has for Advisor, which is very very cool. That way you don't even have to click on the pop up for one. Like that's one less step that a user would need to do. So I definitely think that gives it a little bit advantage, and maybe that can be adopted into the other one.
Yeah. Also, like I learned, I should like research a market as well. And of course, once started to talk about it, other colleagues said, but there is also this other extension that does something similar and so on. But it's fine. Like it doesn't mean that that couldn't have like that's useless or whatever. Like it's nice, and we played with it, we learned, and yeah, I'm happy.
Awesome. All right. Well, on that note, do you have any? Let's share out those resources. Like, what were the things that you use to help learn, and that way people that are watching this can go and read into those more and learn more, and keep that learning journey for them going.
Uh, oh, I don't have the links now, but
That's okay if you
uh,
just say them, and then I'll drop the links. Like I'll get them and I'll put them in the video description, that type of thing that people can reference over on Sneak's YouTube. So
yeah.
that's youtube.com/sneaksec in case people are interested there. If you're not watching on there already, go ahead.
What I did was narrow my research, my search on Manifest v3, because Chrome made a massive change, so they don't support anymore Chrome extensions with Manifest v2 because
Mm.
many security reasons. And if you have it in the marketplace, it's not available. Your station is not there, so you need to migrate. So all my research was like, okay, things related the APIs, things related to Chrome extensions. Google has very nice repository with many examples, that you can just check out that repo and get some ideas from them. I can find that link and share it later.
Is it on
Um,
GitHub, I'm assuming?
yes. From the official page.
Oh, I think I got it. It's Google Chrome/Chrome extension samples. I can
Yes.
drop it in the chat for everybody too.
Um, Yes, and searching more for like Manifest v3 and the rest, like a lot of patience.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Speaking of Manifest v3, I saw a fit nerd who's a colleague of ours, by the way, Micah, in the chat was asking, how was it dealing with the new v3 manifest? Had you built extensions with the previous version and then having to migrate to v3? What was that experience like?
Yes, I do have another extension with V2, but I haven't migrated it, so I don't know the experience. And this one I started already on the tree, so I just followed a few things that, of course, because I was trying examples from other people. I used some APIs or some attributes here that they weren't like available anymore for V3, so I just saw it when okay, I didn't show. I just want to show something quickly that
Sure.
every time that you I want to show this. That's important. So I'm using Webpack, and I'm every time that I make a change, I'm reloading the extension and I'm creating the dist again. Why? Because it's not very easy to see the change, because every time that you make a change and you want to see it in your extension, you need to come back here and at least reload your extension so it reads
Right.
the files that you have in your dist. So you have the Webpack running, or whatever you have running, that the hot reload, your files get in the dist, and then you just do click and you get your pop-up updated.
Mm.
Okay, so when I was using attributes in my manifest that they were not allowed, when I was refreshing it, you get a massive error, and then you see, okay, this attribute is not valid anymore, and so on.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, that's good to know for like folks that are troubleshooting, debugging, trying to get into the new manifest. Hopefully that helps you out there, Fit Nerd. And thank you, Kata, for sharing that experience with us. All right. Um, so yeah, on that note, I think we're gonna start wrapping things up. I want to thank you so much for joining us and sharing your experience and wisdom uh, from your journey in building out a browser extension. And yeah, we hope to have you on again another time if you'd like. If you got something else that you want to share with everybody, that'd be great.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. It
All
was
right,
great.
definitely, definitely. Thank you. All right, folks. On that note, thank you so much for tuning in. If you're watching over on Twitch, be sure to follow the channels because we're going to start picking back up these live streams over on the Sneak channel. And same for YouTube. Be sure to like and subscribe over there so you don't miss out on any of the future content and live streams that we have coming. We'll have a video about this. The full length stream of this is recorded and going to be and shared immediately when we end the stream. You'll be able to see that over on youtube.com/sneaksec. The link for that is as follows, like that right there, if you're not watching over there already. And then we'll probably have like a more condensed version of the video edited up and uh, provided as well on the channel. So keep an eye out for that in the future. On that note, though, we hope you have a good rest of your day and we'll see you in the next one. Have a good one and thank you for joining. Okay. I'll see you in the next stream. Bye bye, folks. Have a good one. Peace out.